and welcome to A Second Glance, where we take an in-depth look at issues in and around Hawaii and the rest of the world. In this very special program, I've invited Dr. Glenn Page, who has recently written a book called The Non-Killing Global Political Science. And this book has generated quite a bit of interest around different corners of the world, especially in, not necessarily especially in, but including areas that one would not normally expect such interest to grow. And I want to read, well, before reading this, I want to say that there's going to be a very special event coming up, and the event actually may have already occurred by the time we get to show this particular program on television. But it will occur on the 1st of November to the 4th of November, and it will be up at the political Zen Dojo, up, not political, up Palolo Zen Dojo up in Palolo Valley, of course.
No, Muriang Sa Temple.
Muriang
Sa. It's not a Zen
Oh, it's not
dojo.
a Zen temple. Okay,
it is a Zen temple, but the one that Roshi Robert Aiken has is well known as the Palolo Zen Temple. But this is Muriang Sa, the Korean Buddhist.
Okay.
Formerly Daewon Sa.
There you have it. You've heard it. Before formally bringing in Dr. Page to engage in this discussion, I just want to give you some background of this book and the interest that it has created. There's a Stephen M. Younger, former director of the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, U.S. Department of Defense. And he's also been the former head of nuclear weapons research and development in Los Alamos National Laboratory. Anyway, he writes in one of his commentaries called Endangered Species, and he says, as obvious as this might sound, it is remarkable that so little attention has been given to the problem of reducing large-scale violence. We have programs to end poverty, reduce illiteracy, and eliminate preventable diseases. Yet we spend almost nothing on planning ways to prevent large wars. Glenn Page, a retired professor of political science, makes this point in his book, Non-Killing Global Political Science. This is the general topic, not necessarily the book, but the subject of non-killing in the society, and how can it be brought about? How does one differentiate non-killing from the more oftentimes heard of conversation, non-violence, peace, and the rest? Dr. Page, first of all, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Call me Glenn, please.
Glenn, okay. It's a joy to have you here. So tell me about what this idea of non-killing is, and how does it differentiate with also the idea of non-violence?
Well, I think it starts, we start out with a question that we all might have: is a non-killing society possible? And that's, once we begin to think about that, that leads us to, into a lot of areas. And if we just dismiss it, we won't give it much thought. Mm-hmm. Now, one characteristic of a non-killing society is that no human beings are killing each other. There's no killing in the family, or crime, or terrorism, war, revolution, mm-hmm. all that human being killing other human beings, it's absent. Another aspect of a non-killing society would be that there wouldn't be so many weapons for killing people, the hardware for killing them. And we don't need weapons to kill. We can kill with our bare hands, and most soldiers, commandos are taught how to do that. But we've developed an incredible range of ways to kill people. And another part of it, there are no justifications for killing. in that society. That is, religions don't tell you that God or someone tells you it's all right to kill, that the patriotism says it's all right to kill for the nation or for some cause, or a gang says it's all right to kill for whatever, our turf battle or whatever the problem is, or a terrorist organization or any other nation. So, and then a third thing is, in a non-killing society, there would be no conditions that are only maintained or propped up by the threat or use of killing. I mean, threaten to kill people. And some examples of that would be, all right, male dominance over females for centuries. The male would kill them, and that's part of that dominance situation. Or, of course, governments and violence there. Then, of course, property owners, the rich against the poor. If he's going to evade the property, they bring in violence and so forth. So, or if it was racism and apartheid or any kind of ideological domination that's backed up by police, force, intelligence, armies, weapons. So a non-killing society, there may be a lot of differentiation in the society and many different ideas, values, groups, and everything. But those conditions aren't maintained by threat or use of force. So basically, is a non-killing society possible? Since the word non-killing is not in dictionary, we have to define it somehow. So let's say it means no killing of humans, no weapons specifically designed to kill humans, no justifications for using them to kill, and no conditions that are only produced or changed by threat or use of killing force. Now, how does that relate to peace and nonviolence? There are, I think, there are two philosophically, there are two very important aspects about the idea of a non-killing society. First is, it's measurable. You can count the bodies. For example, in Hawaii, we can count how many murders we have this year, and last year, and next year, and it's quite measurable. How many murders are there, homicides? Or around the world, we can count globally, and it's a measurable thing. Can we measure democracy? Very hard to measure. Can we measure peace? Can we measure justice? Can we measure equality? Not in the same way. We have measures for those things, but they are much contentious measures, and people use the threat to kill and force to enforce democracy.